All right, so today we're going to kind of dive into something that's, um, a little bit sensitive for some people,
Yeah.
but I think it's important we talk about it, and that is sports betting.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're taking a look at this self-help workbook
Yeah.
called Bet Break
Right.
by Dr. Jeffrey L. Reynolds, who's, an expert in the world of addiction.
Absolutely. And, this workbook, it's not just for people who identify as, having an addiction.
Right.
It's really for anyone who feels like their sports betting might be, getting a little bit out of control.
Exactly. Yeah, and Bet Break kind of comes in and helps you figure out if you maybe have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then more importantly, it gives you these strategies for taking back control.
Right.
Like, a lot of us, I think, can relate to feeling like we're not always in the driver's seat when it comes to our habits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And Bet Break starts off, by kind of hitting you with some tough questions right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, is watching sports even fun anymore? Or do you find yourself constantly chasing losses?
Oh, yeah. Those are tough
Those
ones.
are real gut check
Yeah, they
questions.
really make you stop and think. And
Yeah.
I think, the point is, any of those questions kind of resonate with you, it might be time to, reevaluate your relationship with betting.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a really good point. And that's really the idea of this taking a break comes in.
Good.
Bet break really emphasizes the power of just like taking a step back from sports betting,
Hmm.
whether it's short-term timeout or, even like a full stop.
Right.
The workbook argues that this break can have a ripple effect on so many areas of your life, your mental well-being, your finances, even your
So
relationships.
it's like you're saying it's not just about, like, the money.
Right.
You might be
Yeah, it's
losing.
not just about the
It's like a
money.
bigger picture thing.
Yeah, it's about your mental health. It's
Okay.
about your relationships. It's about like this holistic sense of well-being.
That makes a lot of sense. But, like, let's be real, breaking any habit is tough.
Oh, for sure.
Like, what is Bet Break's secret sauce?
Well, one thing that really impressed me about Bet Break is that it's grounded in, behavioral science,
Okay.
specifically something called the stages of change model.
Okay.
And what the stages of change model recognizes is that people change at different paces,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard of that model. I just don't really remember how it works.
Right. So basically what it does is it outlines the different stages that people go through when they're trying to change a behavior.
Okay.
And it goes from, not even thinking about changing a behavior to, thinking about it,
Yeah.
to preparing to make a change, to actively making changes, and then to maintaining those changes.
Okay.
And so what BetBreak does is it uses this model to meet you where you're at
Right.
and then guide you through the process step by step.
So, like, whether you're just starting to think about cutting back or you're ready to, go totally cold turkey, Bet Break can kind of help you figure out what that next move is.
Exactly. And it's not just theory, it's packed with practical strategies.
Okay.
So, like, one thing it emphasizes is setting these things called SMART goals, which stands for
I've heard of SMART goals.
specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Yeah.
And so instead of just kind of vaguely saying, oh, I'm going to gamble less,
Right.
you would set a specific goal. Like,
Hmm.
I will only bet on one game per week
Okay.
with a maximum budget of $50.
So you're setting yourself up for success.
Exactly. With like clear,
Clear, actionable goal.
actionable goals instead of just relying on willpower, because willpower is,
Willpower is fickle.
yeah, willpower is very fickle.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the workbook gets that, it even has a whole section on managing those inevitable moments when your willpower takes a nosedive and, those cravings hit hard.
Yeah. And so it gives you all these different tactics to deal with those urges, like
Okay.
mindfulness techniques, distraction strategies, and even just like reaching out for support.
It sounds like Bet Break is like really comprehensive.
Yeah.
Like it covers everything from understanding the problem to developing practical coping mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the emotional side of things?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question.
Like the guilt, the shame, the, fear of letting people down?
You're right. Those emotions are a huge part of it. And the workbook acknowledges that,
Okay.
it actually has sections that help you address the emotional fallout of problem gambling, like rebuilding trust in your relationships
Okay.
and learning to forgive yourself for past mistakes.
Right.
It's about healing and moving forward, not just stopping the behavior.
I'm really impressed with how holistic this approach seems to be.
Yeah.
It's not just about, stopping betting. It's about addressing the underlying issues and giving you the tools to, like, rebuild your life.
That's what's so powerful about it.
Yeah.
It empowers you to take control not just of your gambling,
Okay.
but of your overall well-being.
Right. And so anyone listening who wants to kind of explore these ideas further can visit
www.thehealthknowledgebase.com.
www.thehealthknowledgebase.com.
That's right.
And they've got tons of info on bet break too, but we're just scratching the surface here.
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll dive even deeper into some of the specific strategies and insights that bet break offers.
Sounds good.
So stay tuned.
All right. So, before the break, we were talking about how BetBreak tackles like the emotional side of problem gambling.
Yeah.
And I think it's really insightful how the workbook connects problem gambling to like losing the genuine enjoyment of sports.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like when you get so fixated on the bets that you almost forget to like watch the game.
Exactly.
You're just watching the score, you're not watching the plays.
Right. You're not invested in the actual sport.
Yeah, and it's like you've just sucked all the fun out of it.
Yeah, you've taken all the joy out of it. And so that's really what BetBreak is trying to help you reclaim.
Okay.
Like, remember why you loved watching these games in the first place,
Right.
Was it the skill of the athletes, the thrill of the competition, the camaraderie with your friends?
It's like you're hitting the reset button on your fandom.
Yeah.
You're getting back to the core of why you enjoy these games before betting kind of took over.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not necessarily about swearing off betting forever.
Huh.
It's about taking a step back to gain some perspective. The workbook even compares it to athletes taking a break to avoid burnout.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Yeah.
So it's like you're giving yourself a mental and emotional timeout to come back to the game refreshed and with a healthier perspective.
Exactly. And when you do that, you're able to make more conscious choices about your betting behavior
Okay.
rather than just getting swept up in the moment.
Right. So betting should be a choice, not like a compulsion.
Exactly.
Okay. So how does bet break help you make those choices?
Okay.
I know we touched on setting SMART goals earlier,
Right.
but what are some of the other practical strategies that it offers?
So one thing that it really focuses on is identifying your gambling triggers.
Okay.
So these are like, the situations, the feelings, or even people that tend to make you want to gamble.
Okay, so maybe it's hanging out with certain friends or feeling stressed after work or even just seeing a gambling ad pop up on your phone.
Exactly.
Right.
Those are all things that can trigger you to want to gamble.
So you're saying it's about becoming aware of those danger zones
Right.
and then developing strategies to navigate them.
Like if you know that hanging out with certain friends is a trigger,
Right.
maybe suggests doing something else that doesn't involve betting.
Right, or if it's stress, maybe you find a different outlet
Exactly.
to deal with that.
The workbook even talks about limiting your access to gambling, which
Okay.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's about removing temptation and making it harder for you to act on those impulses.
Oh, so that could be things like deleting gambling apps from your phone,
yeah.
unsubscribing from those tempting email offers,
Right.
or even just avoiding places where you typically gamble.
Exactly. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And then there's the financial aspect. BetBreak also helps you take control of your finances,
Mhm.
which, can be a big source of stress.
Yeah, for sure.
For people struggling with problem gambling.
So it's encouraging you to set up a realistic budget, track your spending, and even consider those self-exclusion programs.
Yeah.
Or limiting your access to credit cards.
Those are all great ideas.
So it's you're building a safety net around yourself
Yeah.
to prevent those slip-ups.
That's a great way to think about it. And remember, BetBreak acknowledges that
Yeah.
setbacks happen.
Right. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, it's not about being perfect. It's about learning from those moments and getting back on track.
So it's taking the pressure off and reminding you that change is a process. It's not an
Right.
event.
It's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey.
And, if you're listening to this and you're thinking okay, this sounds good, but where do I even start?
Right.
You can always visit www.thehealthknowledgebase.com.
Yeah.
They have tons of resources, including information about BetBreak.
Yeah, that's a great reminder. They've got all the details there, and it's a fantastic starting point for anyone who wants to learn more about problem gambling and how to take control. But stick with us. We've got more to explore. Okay, so we're back, and I kind of want to circle back to something we were talking about earlier,
Okay.
which is this idea of taking a break from sports betting as a way to reclaim your time, reclaim your money, reclaim your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a powerful concept, but I think, some people listening might be a little hesitant.
Yeah.
They might be thinking oh, does that mean I'm admitting defeat? Or am I giving up on something I enjoy?
Right. It's totally understandable to have those concerns.
Yeah.
But you know what I think BetBreak does really well is it reframes the idea of taking a break.
Okay.
It's not about giving up. It's about gaining control.
Right.
It's about consciously choosing how you want to spend your time and energy rather than feeling your habits are dictating your life.
So instead of feeling like you're being controlled by these urges to bet.
Right.
You're kind of making a conscious decision to step back and reassess.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And remember, taking a break doesn't have to mean quitting forever. It could
Uh-huh.
be a short-term experiment just to kind of see how you feel.
Yeah.
Break the cycle, give yourself some breathing room. You might discover that you enjoy watching sports more without that added pressure of betting.
Right.
Or you might realize that, you know what, betting just doesn't align with my values and goals anymore.
Yeah, it's about giving yourself that space to figure out what works best for you.
Exactly.
And BetBreak provides those tools
Yeah.
to help you navigate that whole journey.
Absolutely. And one of the most powerful things I think that BetBreak offers is just like a sense of hope.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds out that change is possible, that you're not alone in this,
Right.
and that there are strategies that can help you break free from this grip of problem gambling.
Yeah. And I think that message of hope is so important because it's really easy to feel stuck
Oh, yeah,
and overwhelmed when you're dealing with a habit like problem gambling.
for sure.
But BetBreak offers a path forward.
It does. It encourages you to envision a future where you're in control, where you're free from that burden of problem gambling,
Mm-hmm.
and where you can actually enjoy the things you love without that added stress and anxiety.
Right.
It invites you to imagine how different your life could be a year from now if you just start making, healthier choices today.
Yeah, that's a really inspiring way to think about it. It's not just about stopping a behavior. It's like
Right.
opening up this whole world of possibilities.
Yeah.
So if anyone listening is ready to explore those possibilities, you can visit
www.thehealthknowledgebase.com
www.thehealthknowledgebase.com.
for more information and resources.
They've got everything you need to take that first step towards a healthier relationship with sports betting.
Yeah, and remember, even if you're just starting to question your betting habits, it's never too early to seek out help and support.
Right.
Taking that first step is often the hardest,
Mm-hmm.
but it can also be the most rewarding.
So true. And BetBreak can be your guide on that journey. It's a practical, insightful, and affordable resource, and it can make a real difference in your life. So if you're ready to break free and reclaim your life, take that first step, visit www.thehealthknowledgebase.com and start your journey today.